Hey everybody, it's Silent Shooter here. I just got back from Las Vegas yesterday and going to give you a trip report. First off, happy Father's Day. I'm recording this on the 20th of June, Sunday, Father's Day, on in 2021. So happy Father's Day to all you great dads out there. So, uh, trip report, Vegas trip report. I left here on Tuesday, got there Tuesday, obviously. Um, got to the airport. Uh, want to give a special shout out to Will Smith, not the actor, the real Will Smith. He's part of Craps Nation. He picked me up from the airport and took me to my hotel. I was staying at Bali's, uh, but there was a little snafu. I accidentally left my backpack in the back seat uh, after he dropped me off, so it had my entire bankroll in it, uh, along with my laptop and a couple other things that were kind of essential for my trip. I gave him a call back up. Actually, he called me. He's like, "Hey, did you leave a backpack?" Because I didn't notice. I felt like I had left something in his car. Checked my pockets and stuff. I'm like, well, I had my wallet, my keys, I had my suitcase. I guess I'm okay. I don't know. So he called me up as I was checking in, and he's like, did you leave the backpack? I'm like, yes, I did. So he had to turn around. He was already on the freeway again, turned around and dropped me off my backpack. So special thank you so much, Will, for that, because that would have completely ruined the trip. Um, so waited for him to come back, checked in, went up to the room, was supposed to just kind of relax for a couple hours before going to an appointment. So I had to set up an appointment at 4 o'clock to go eat an early dinner, late lunch type of deal. Meeting up with my buddy G Dub. Uh, well, first off, I'd never met G Dub before. He's part of the Craft Nation. Um, he and I talk on Skype a lot. We do LSD, and he's the one who actually told me about the person, the company who made my table. So he referred me to them. So he gave me his tip. I don't know if y'all will be able to see this. No, there. All right. So that's his chip. Yeah. So he gave me his chip. We exchanged chips. It was pretty cool. And he basically has a friend for life now. Not that we weren't before, but we are now. He was a great guy. He is a great guy, not was. He's still alive. He's a great guy. Spent a lot of time with him on this trip. Met a lot of great people on this trip. And met with Howard Newman, Howard Rock and Roller Newman, for a class, a semi-private class. Uh, he's uh, been in the game for years and very, very good shooter. He's one of the original people from Golden Touch Crafts. Um, I'll let you tell or let him tell his story uh, if you take a class with him or look him up and see other interviews. So I won't say too much about him except that he's a great guy. He's a genuine guy. Anything you see on like interviews from um, David's same bet YouTube channel. His interviews with Howard are point on. He's the same guy that you saw on TV. Same great guy, honest, and super knowledgeable about the game, and very good at throwing dice. And that's I was taking a private or semi-private class with him. So went over there to eat dinner with late lunch, early dinner with G Dub and Howard. Met Howard's wife and Howard's sister at the same time. So after eating, we went to Ellis Island to go eat, and we were able to pick up some dice at the souvenir shop. I don't know if you can really see that. All right, so got a set of each. So these have been used uh, at the tables at Ellis Island. They were $2. So now I have a display case that I haven't put up that should go right up there. You see the two little markers that I have on the wall where I'll put them up eventually whenever I get it filled. But bought some dice for the dice case and went over to Howard's craps pit. He has his own craps table at home at his condo in Las Vegas. So we proceeded to do our class there. He great host. Um, learned a lot about our shop, or learned a lot of new techniques, a lot of new different grips. Learned different grips for different styles and different positions. So we got to pick and choose which one we like. So I found a throw that I like from stick right, the stick right position. So I'll be using that if I ever get a chance to shoot stick right, or if I only have a stick right choice. So I'll be proficient at that. More about that throw in real life, in like in practice, not practice, but at the actual table, using it at the actual tables. Um, so I forgot my sheet for Tuesday, so I'm kind of my notes for Tuesday. So I'm just kind of winging it right now. So after the class, I mean, the class was only supposed to go to 9, but we ended up staying probably about 10:30. It was great. We were planning on going to the casino after that with Howard, but we were all so tired. I had just flown in, hadn't had time to rest yet, and I don't like going to the casino or table, trying to play the first day that I get there, to any to any casino. Just like I said before in other videos or whatever, that's one of my rules is to not play the first day because I'm just too tired, even though the excitement's there. The adrenaline eventually wears off, and my technique is horrible, and I lose money. So that being said, uh, Gary was or G Dub was staying at the same hotel as I at Bally's, so we decided to meet up. Both of us are early risers. G Dub and I met up about 4:30 in the morning at the table at Bally's. Um, so this is Wednesday now. Yeah, so sorry. So we're at Bally's from about 4:30 to 6:30. Met up with G Dub. Um, he's also part of the what we call ourselves the Texas Craps Mafia. But anyway, um, I got stick right one and bought in for about I bought in $500, and I from with that new grip and that new toss from stick right. Even though there was a completely empty table at that time, it was a $15 table. It's a hard surface, the bouncy table, or no, not hard surface, bouncy, because it's a hard surface, the neutral table. So it was pretty good. The dealers were okay. There's one dealer that was not very friendly. You could tell that he was burnt out, and he was just kind of crotchety. He was still doing his job, but that's pretty much it. He didn't really have any personality. The other two girls, I didn't catch their names, but they were great. They were really nice. Uh, they were involved in the game, involved in Gary and I, because we're the only two at the table, talked to us and stuff like that. So great customer service. Just that one dude was, yeah, uh, like I said, he was decent at his job, but that was pretty much it. He was, just not very personable. Um, but anyway, I shot from stick right, and I was able to, uh, well, what was it? I bought it for 500, and I turned it into 1,300. It was a $15 minimum table. I hit the small once, and I made 4 points on it. 4 points on the fire bet. Unfortunately, I wasn't on it. So the fire bet pays. I don't really remember what it pays. Actually, give me a sec. I have cheater chips. All right. So in order for a fire bet to work, you have to hit at least 4 numbers for it to pay out. So you put $1 up to $10 on a fire bet, and if you hit 4 points, you get paid out 25 to 1. So if you have $5 on it, you get $125. So that's cool. Wait, that's not right. Yeah. something like that. Anyway, but if I would have hit another point, um, it would have gone up to 250 to 1. And if I would have gotten all 6 points, so fire bet works like this. Um, each of the box numbers, if you have to make individual box number points. So you have to make a point and hit the point on all 6 box numbers to get all 6 fire bets. So if you hit the 4, you make the 4, and you hit the 4 again, you make the 4. That's not 2 points. That's just a 1 point fire bet. So I made 4 points on that fire bet. Gary was on it. G-Dub was on it, fortunately, but I was not, unfortunately. But I did hit the small, and I was on the small, so that was pretty cool. G-Dub had learned a new toss as well, a new throw from the end. Um, and if he ever creates a channel, I'll let him talk about that. But I'll just say that he did pretty well on his first attempt. It wasn't anything great, but we both literally just learned the toss, the throw, whatever you want to call it, the night before with Howard. So that wasn't bad. So now it's about 6:30. We are going to go to Bellagio and meet up with another Craps Nation guy, Bird Dog 301. Here's his tip. Come on, zoom in. Yeah, Bird Dog 301. Eddie's a great guy. He's one of the founding members of Craps Nation, and he's got his own channel as well, Bird Dog 301 on YouTube. Great guy. I can't say enough good things about Eddie. He's an all-around cool dude. Hung out with him most of the trip as well, so I was hanging out with G-Dub and Bird Dog most of the trip, and got to meet up with let's see, Scott Buddha. He lives in Texas as well. Also met up with Born to Roll. He lives out in El Paso as well, with along close to Bird Dog, I believe. And Will met us out there at Bellagio. So whenever G-Dub and I got up to the table, met up with Bird Dog, it was a $15 table at Bellagio. There are 2 tables open. One was 25, one was 15, and the $15 table was open. So we went over there and played on that one. There were 2 tables. It was a hard surface, the neutral table. It was a good table. It was a 12-foot table. I forgot to mention Bolly's was a 12-foot table. So I had stick right again, just to try out the shot again. And Gary took the end, and we did pretty well. I don't remember how many tosses we did, but I bought in for 500, and Wednesday. So I bought it for 500. So I'm looking at my notes, and I just realized that I wrote the notes for the Bellagio for Wednesday or Thursday's trip onto Wednesday, because we did it twice. Anyway, so bought in for 500, left with I think 600. I did a 20% win, and then I was done. So my goal at the very beginning was to make 20% of each session and be good. So I was keeping with my game plan. My game plan was not to play on the first day, to go only 3 sessions a day and make 20% per session. So far so good, right? So made the $200, or the $100. Yeah, 20%. I made $100. So we left that. I left with $600 altogether, and we went over to Paris at about 10 o'clock. Had breakfast / lunch, and there's one table open, or there's one table there. It's a 12-foot table. I never felt the surface, and I believe that it's told it was a $15 table. It was completely full, so I didn't get on it. But there was a hybrid table, and I've played on hybrid tables before, and I don't like them. A lot of people do, but I don't like them. I don't like how the dice react to the plexiglass, the special plexiglass glass that they have. So, and the dealers were being kind of jerkish about the rules and stuff like that as they were explaining it uh, to Born to Roll. So Raymond. So shout out to him, good guy. I think he has a channel too. I'm not quite sure. So he's a great dude. Uh, so it was Scott, Eddie, G-Dub, myself, Will, and I think that was everybody, and Born to Roll. And they tried their hand at the plexiglass, and they're like the dealers. Just to give you an example of what they were doing, they would Scott would throw it, both dice would hit the back wall, and then they would call no roll because they didn't see that the dice hit the back wall. Um, but then on another throw, he threw and one dice accidentally didn't hit the back wall, and there's this little like probably 1 foot marker or like ledge on the plexiglass to where it prevents people from just sliding dice across the board. But the dice landed before that ledge, so and the second dice hit the back wall. So they called that a roll, even though they specifically said that both dice have to go across that line in order for it to count. So guess what that roll was? A 7. So obviously they were just bending the rules for the casino's sake and not trying to help us out. I mean, dealers aren't supposed to help us out anyway, but if they want to get tips, you know, stick with the same rules that you gave us at the very beginning that you're so adamant about, you know? So there was that. Um, so we left there and we went to Golden Nugget. Um, so it's about 12:30. Uh, went to the Golden Nugget. All right, so I guess I was right with my Bellagio trip. I did buy in for 500, and I did lose all of it. Um, so I was still $300 up from before. Okay, well that makes more sense. It was a long trip. I'm still tired from it. Sorry. So we went to Golden Nugget, and Golden Nugget is where I bought in for 500 and left with 600. Um, okay. So Golden Nugget bought in for 500, left with 600. My 20%. It was a $10 minimum table, 12-foot table. Uh, it's it was neutral to bouncy, and it was good tables. I like the tables, but I didn't like the dealers. The dealers, it's a break-in casino, and I could tell the most experienced person there. I think was her name was Amber, and she's only been there for a year. The other dealers, we were correcting their payout mistakes. They were not personal. The youngest guy there was not very personable. I think his name was Ryan. I thought he was going to be a cool dude, but just he. There were times that he'd be cool, but then there are other times that he was just a jerk to someone else. So I think he was cool with me because I was tipping for the dealers. I mean, I always tip for the dealers, so that's why he was nice to me. But he wasn't very nice to everyone else at the table. So um, I guess that's a lesson learned. Be nice to your tip your dealers so they'll be okay with you, be more lenient with you, I guess. I don't know, help you with your bets. He reminded me on a few horn bets that I that I put up to be put back up and won me some money off of that. But at the Golden Nugget, we met up with James Bond. James Bond is not his real name. He doesn't have a YouTube channel. We just call him James Bond because uh, his first name is James, and it's kind of cool. But we met up with him, and we met up with Super Mario at the Golden Nugget. Uh, James was on a hot streak this whole entire trip. He was shooting lights out everywhere he went, so he was doing much better than me uh, for sure for the whole entire trip. And Super Mario, man, he uh, lives out in California, San Francisco area, and he's got a friend for life, with me. So I appreciate him. He showed me around. We didn't really play I mean, we played a lot together, but I never actually got to like stand next to him and start talking to him and stuff like that until the very last night. So I'll talk a little bit about that a little later. But uh, Golden Nuggets. This was about 1:30 is when we left. So like I said, I bought it for 500, left with 600. I shot from stick. I shot from straight out most of the time. I don't quite remember where I was shooting from. I was shooting from stick right at the Golden Nuggets that first day. So I did okay. I hit my 20%, and I was good. So I was done. I was still up at this point in time. So we go to the El Cortez afterwards because uh, Craft Hawaii and that crew, Mel or Uncle Mel, Uncle Bobby, and Uncle Fuji were out there. We also met the Don out there. He's part of our Craps Nation crew, part of Texas Craps Mafia. So is James, by the way, James and Scott Buddha. So this whole crowd of people are just kind of moving uh, from casino to casino now together. We're all Craps Nation, so we're all joking, shooting the breeze, having a good time, telling jokes, telling stories, um, just cracking up, just having a blast. Go to El Cortez, meet Don there. I play with Don all the time, probably once a month, once twice a month. He lives out in Fort Worth area, so we go up to Choctaw and Woodstar together a lot. So he's pretty cool. Uh, Him and his fiance, congratulations by the way, um, Don and Carolyn, um, on the engagement. Um, and we met up there with Mel, Bobby, and Fuji, and they were perhaps Hawaii was filming 2 hour sessions over at the El Cortez, and the Texas Craps Mafia were the backups for their main crew. So what would happen is that if someone was going out and they were getting tired or they didn't have a good role and they just wanted to switch out and take a breather, one of our guys would switch in. Eddie was in first because they needed another person, so we called Eddie El Jefe, the quote unquote leader of our group, Texas Craps Mafia. So he was up first. He's also, since he was a founding member of Craps Nation, he was also wearing a Craps Hawaii shirt because him and Mel are really good friends. Excuse me. So they were shooting. They did okay. Um, I didn't get to shoot. I got on, but I didn't get to shoot because the only position that was open whenever they asked me to come in was to go to stick right one, which was fine. I was going to use my new shot from stick right, but it never came back to me because I believe Will shot well, then James shot really well, and then it went to Don. I don't remember how he shot, and then it went to G Dub, and G Dub went off, just went off. It was like I think it was almost 40 plus rolls. Um, he was trying to hit the ATS, but on his come out roll, he had a couple of 7 outs on come out rolls, and it would wipe the ATS off, and he'd keep on hitting them. He almost hit all, like he would just need like one number on each side. I don't remember which, but he was using the new toss from the end, and it was just working so well for him. Very consistent, um, for the most part. Every once in a while, he'll go back to his old throw, because muscle memory. But yeah, he was shooting lights out. The dice never got back to me. So $500 in, $600 out. So I was happy. After 4 o'clock, we stepped away from the table. Um, but we hung out for a while. There was a happy hour, a meet and greet with Craps Hawaii from 4:30 to 5:30. So we were there uh, mm, until I don't know how long we were there, until about 7 actually. Yeah, we were there until about 7. Um, and then we proceeded to go to South Point because we had a dinner, uh, Craps Nation dinner to go to. Wow, Craps Hawaii went to play again, I think, or meet up later at 9 o'clock or 8 o'clock. They're going to meet back up to play again, but I had that dinner to go to. Most of us had VI or RSVP for that dinner, so we went to South Point. Um, didn't play. We just went to have dinner there. Or I didn't play. I don't know if anyone else did, but Will drove us out there, and we had dinner. We met up with Ike. He's part of the Craps Nation as well, and he's a pretty cool dude. Um, met Ike there, Bird Dog. Met his wife and his son. Met Will and his dad. Um, met Senor Moo and Mrs. Moo. Those are their handles. Um, that's what they go by. That's so, and they're part of Craps Nation as well. So that was really cool. Uh, really cool guy. Uh, Super Mario was there. Scott Buddha and his dad was there. So there's about 17 of us all together there. Uh, and it was a great dinner. Um, one of the one of the better dinners I've had in a while. I mean, like I said, we're all joking around, talking. It was good times. They had really good fresh oysters. You would think they wouldn't have fresh oysters, middle of the desert in Nevada, but they get them flown in, so they're actually really good, really fresh. Had that. Well, you don't want a food report, so don't worry. So after dinner we went to the M. So this is about 9:30. We're at the M. It's off strip with $10 minimum tables. Um, great dealers. I don't remember the dealer's name though, unfortunately, but she was great. All the dealers were great, but there's one dealer that was testing the waters on, uh, seeing if she was cool or not, and she was. But it was a good table. I liked the table. Uh, bought in, but I bought in originally for $300. Then I lost it, bought it for another 200. Lost that and put in another 200. So I'm in for 700, and I was able to, thanks to Mario, I think, yeah, thanks to Mario and Will, I was able to get back up to that original 700, a little more. Uh, so I cashed out with 700. I said, it was fine, and I tipped the dealers the extra change. I mean, I always tip to the dealers as I'm playing. I have them up on the board with me. I also have pass line bets for them as well, and I have usually on any of the all pulse balls or anything like that, I have the dealers on that as well. So any prop bets that I do, I tip, I have the dealers with me. But anyway, for the day, I had a altogether it was like a $500 profit, but I paid $100 for the dinner, Hilton expensive dinner, um, just for me. And then so basically I ended up with a $400 profit for Wednesday. That was just Wednesday. It was a very busy day Wednesday. Thursday was pretty busy as well for me, but for different reasons. Um, met up with I went up to so what time did we leave? We left we left South Point about 12 or no, we left the M at about 12:30 at night. And I woke up, went down to the tables about 4 o'clock in the morning at Bally's. Um, it was a $25 table instead of 15 the day before. Basically the exact time of day. There's no one at the table. And I walked up like, hey, how's it going, guys? Same dealers, the exact same dealers. Like, hey, it's a $25 table and no one's here. Do you think you'd be able to drop it down to a 15 like it was yesterday? and the one dude, the taller gentleman, I don't remember his name. Uh, sorry, my alarm was going off. But one dude's like, no, like, you can't change it. I'm like, could you talk to the pit boss or whatever, or see if he can do anything about it? No, if you don't like it, you can go to another casino. Okay, I didn't argue. I'm like, all right, fine, and I walked off. Um, went to Bellagio, so that set the mood for the entire day. Uh, I was pissed off because he was being a jerk. Trying not to cuss on YouTube right now, but he's being a jerk. So went over to Bellagio. I'm thinking, okay, well they had $15 tables about this time anyway, so that's cool. Um, went to Bellagio, and it was a $25 table. Both tables were $25, and there were people already on it, so I guess that's why. Um, but I liked the table. I got the stick right position because that was the only position open, and I didn't shoot very well. No, I take that back. I shot pretty well the first time. I made like 2 points, and hit box numbers inside. I went from like 700. I bought it for $700, and I got it all. I got it up to 1,300. No, not 1,300. I'm sorry. Uh, I got it up to 820, but I wanted to, and I got a call from G-Dub, from Eddie. No, yeah, I called up G-Dub, I texted G-Dub, told him where I was, and he said he wanted to go to Planet Hollywood. So I'm like, okay, well, color me up. As I was leaving, he texted back like, hey, I'll just come over to Bellagio. Don't worry about it. So I'm like, okay. Went back, bought back in, and for the same amount that I left with, because I hadn't even got to the cage yet. So I just put the chips back and proceeded to lose all of it. So um, went down to zero. By the time G Dub and Eddie, because Eddie was meeting us there, showed up, uh, I I had to buy it back in for $400, and I lost that as well. It just took a turn for the worse. Because by the time I got back, um, I didn't. I was still at stick right. So uh, yeah, I don't know what happened. But anyway, from there we went to Excalibur. Um, I don't remember the conditions at Excalibur, so I know I lost $500. My buy-in, and that was it. I was like, I'm done. I'm not playing anymore at Excalibur. Um, so from there we went to Ellis Island. So this is about 9:30 in the morning. We got there at 9:30 because the tables opened up at 10. And we had heard that Ellis, you had to get there early to get a position, stand by your position, otherwise you don't get one because it fills up pretty quick. It's one of the last $5 tables minimums in Las Vegas. So, and so we got our positions. So I coordinated a meetup with some of the guys from Color Up, the Color Up Club. So Dice Jedi, Ace, and Tran. Um, I met up there and we played for a little bit. Whenever it all opened up, uh, I shot okay. I didn't, you know, I made money, but off of most of the other shooters, I ended up going broke. Usually I just play, 6 and 8, but with the people that I knew that was at the table, um, I thought we'd all do better, but I mean, everyone has a bad day. There's one guy in there that was a local that I was told that he comes in every single day, and he bought in for I think like $40 and cashed out for like 200, but he rolled for like an hour, um, 45 minutes to an hour, and yeah, it was. He shot well. He shot very well. Um, but I didn't make that much money off of him. Or no, I made some money off of him, but all the other shooters that I was trying to do a two load up in the front end, 2 hits and regress, but I never got a chance to regress on some of the shooters. So I their PSO cost me pretty much my entire rate. It did cost me my bankroll because whatever I had left, I just took the dealers. There was one dealer that was breaking in there, and I felt so bad for him because it was a full table. We had 7 to 8 people per side. Um, the only reason why there wasn't 7 people on my side is because I'm a relatively big dude, and I was taking up two chip rails. So, but I still had a person next to me, and I was standing at the end, the left side, and to the spot that I chose, and then I had it was just full. So after Ellis, um, we after we played at Ellis, we ended up just eating there. We got comped, um, and I was there until about 2:30 because I went to the Fashion Show Mall to do a 30 roll challenge with at Casino Quest. Casino Quest, check them out online. They have a YouTube channel. They also have a CEG dealer school. They're really cool, really awesome people. I got to meet up with David, Alex, and Timmy for that channel. I was a little starstruck. They're pretty cool people, and they're exactly the same in, I guess, real life as they are on YouTube. So that was really, really cool. Talked to them for a bit, got to know their story. David dealt for me on doing 30 roll challenge. I'm not going to tell you how I did. Um, so I can say that I'm the first person to ever what do what I did on the 30 roll challenge. So whenever they put that up, they'll mention that, and that was pretty cool. It was really fun. Ended up buying a hat from them, with each of them signing it. So Alex, or no, David, Alex, and Timmy on the bottom, right there. So that was pretty cool. Um, and I'll probably set up something when I go back to Vegas in September, to try to do another 30 roll challenge. Maybe I'll do the 5 minute or the 10-minute challenge with Timmy, but I'm not a very good blackjack player. I tend to always lose, so I would just lose faster and just get on the wall of shame. And I don't want to do that. So I might not do the blackjack challenge with Timmy, but I might do the 30 roll challenge again to see. Well, yeah, you'll see. Anyway, after that, um, I was there at the fashion show all until about 7:30. Um, I met up with Don, Carolyn, James, and our buddy Jake. Um, hard eight, hard eight Jake is what we call him because he throws so many hard eights. So we met up with him at the fashion show. All met up with them at the fashion show mall at the food court because they wanted to eat at Ike. Um, but I didn't eat. I was going to a party. But met up with them and hung out for a little bit, and then I headed off to a dinner party that was being hosted by VDC, Vegas Dice Controller, and CDC, which is Columbia Dice Controller, at their house. They live in Vegas. That wonderful house, wonderful host. They have their own craft table, great food. Most of like most of the guys from Craft Nation that flew in for the trip were there. Met so many people. It was really awesome. Howard was there as well with his wife. Um, just can't thank them enough. So thank y'all very much. Uh, Rich also teaches classes. Uh, so if y'all want to take a class, if y'all are up there, Howard teaches classes and Rick teaches classes. I didn't get a chance to do one with Rich, this time around. So maybe next time. I don't know. We'll see. But it was just a great time. We ended up staying uh, until about 12, I think, or something like that. And we called it a night, um, but Ubered back, and it was a long day. It was a fun day, not a very profitable day. Um, and that was pretty much it. On Thursday, I won't tell y'all how much I had lost, but I had lost pretty much most of everything that I'd allocated for Thursday or for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So, I mean, I never play with money that I can't lose. I just don't like losing. Most people don't. So, wasn't very happy about that. So we got up and met up at the Golden Gate at 6 a.m. We decided as a group that we would go to meet up at Golden Gate because we like the Golden Gate. We're hoping for different dealers. Um, and we had different dealers, but they were just as bad. Bought in for 10 or 500, left with zero. It was a $10 table, like I said, neutral to bouncy, but that was fine. Went to the Plaza next. Great dealers at the Plaza, great atmosphere. Um, People say that there's a Plaza's really bouncy, but there's two different tables. There's one really bouncy table that we didn't play on. Then there's the second table that was uh, it was a neutral table. It wasn't hard. It wasn't bouncy. It was just there. It was a 12-foot table. It was apparently a $10 table. I thought it was a $15 table, so I was playing it at $15 level the whole time, where I could have regressed and actually made some money. Um, but I was in for 500. Um, I was doing really well until I got greedy, and I tried to load up in the front, put everything out on there, and uh, got nailed with the salt, uh, 0.7 out. I was trying to do two hits and regress, and I only got that one hit, and I never got to regress after that second. So might be changing my strategy for a little bit for Vegas in September. Um, yeah. After that, we needed to take a break. I was starting to go on tilt. I don't like losing, and losing that much in a day and a morning really pissed me off. So we went to go get lunch at Claim Jumper. I think that was Golden Gate again. I don't remember where Claim Jumper is, but went back, ate lunch, and hit up Fremont afterwards. Fremont, it was pretty cool. We got to meet up with um, Rick from Let It Roll. Uh, he's got a YouTube channel. So Rick from Let It Roll. Played with him for a little bit. Played with Uncle Mel and Uncle Bobby, and you know, for a little bit. So they don't have so at Fremont, their tables are super hard. It's like a slate. They have a slate table. No, their table's made of slate. It feels like, and it just has a single layout. No prop bets, just pure crap. But Fremont, they have the counter, so if you do 25 rolls, you get a hat. I didn't win a hat, um, but Vaughn did. Vaughn threw 38 times one of the days that I wasn't with him, and he earned a hat. He was two away from getting a jacket, which would have been cool. Just a nice little souvenir. So I'll be doing that. I'll be trying to for that in September for sure. But anyway, Fremont hardship stable. Bought in for 500, lost 500. So I'm on a pretty bad losing streak right now. And we all decided to go to the Gold Coast, or I kind of convinced everybody to go to the Gold Coast because they have repeater bets, and we hadn't played on a table with repeater bets the whole trip. So G Dub really wanted to play on repeater bets, and I kind of wanted to play on a repeater bet table as well. So I knew for a fact it was a $10 table at the Gold Coast, and that there were repeater bets. So we got there. Table was wide open when we got there. No one at the table. I took the left side end. G Dub took the right side end, um, and who else was with us? Anyway, so by the time we got there, we set up our spots. All the other spots are filled up by the time Eddie got there. Um, by the time the rest of our crew got there, and we filled up the rest of that table. So I don't remember who all was there. I just remember that there's 8 of us from Craft Nation there, and at one point in time, we had the they had pulled their money in $32 a person and did all one bet. So they're trying to do uh, 6 bets full press with the come out roll, with no regression and pull down after the seventh hit. After the seventh hit. Um, but they got they got all the way up to the sixth hit, and they were debating whether or not to work the come out roll because he had made his point. The shooter, I don't remember who was shooting, um, made their points, and they're debating whether or not to do the come out roll. But the way the strategy works is that it's all or nothing, and that um, you work the come out roll. So that's what they did, and 7. So they lost all of it. Now we did it again, but with 8 people this time, and ended up winning. We did 6 in a row, pressed all of it all the way up. We had like 2 or 3 tens in there, so it was even better because the payouts are better, obviously. And we each colored up $108 or something like that. Uh, every person that pitched in, all 8 of us got 108 with a $32 investment, so it wasn't too bad. Um, but I put that in, thinking that I was going to get that money back, and epically lost again. So um, I was down quite a bit, uh, by that time. We ate dinner at the TGI Fridays. They comped us. I want to give a special shout out to the bosses, the box people and the bosses over at Gold Coast. Wenda with the W, not Linda. Wenda um, was really really cool. She was thanking us for all the tips because we're the only people tipping were the Craps Nation people. And we weren't doing the regular bets that most people do there. She's like, "Thank you so much. Y'all made it really fun. It reminded me of my dealer days and when people would group up and do all this stuff." Um, she's like, "I'm kind of tired of all the people just doing the $10 bet, $12 bet, and a little minimum stuff. It's not very exciting for her. It's boring." But she was into it. The dealers were into it. So just a break-in place again. The dealers were kind of new, um, and they're not used to what we were doing, betting wise, how we were pressing, how we were regressing, how just different ways that craps you can bet any which way you want, and they weren't used to seeing what we were doing with our bets. So it slowed down the game a bit, but they were working hard, and we were really patient with them because we know it was a break-in place, and it was fine. But we ate dinner. Godfrey got us comp, uh, and he gave me a $50 comp. I'm like, "Are you sure $50 is enough?" He's like, "Oh, it'll be enough. You're not gonna be able to eat $50 worth of food." So I'm like, "Challenge accepted." So ended up eating like $64 worth of food um, before the discount. No, that's after the discount. I ate like $64 worth of food and paid like $10. Yeah, paid $14 and some change um, for the meal, but I tipped really well on the meal too. So that was it. So now it's Friday night. It's about 12. Uh, it's about 12 o'clock, almost 12 o'clock, and I'm in the hole for almost all of my entire bankroll for the trip. Not very happy, but been having a really good time. So I don't mind. Again, I don't go with money I can't lose. Um, but I've been saving for this for pretty much a year, and not very happy that I've lost it. Super Mario and Eddie had been asking to go to a crapless table since Gold Coast, or since Fremont actually. Um, so went to I said let's go to Gold Coast first, and then we'll go to Luxor right afterwards. And even though it was like 12 o'clock now, I'm like, they still wanted to go. I'm like, I don't know. I'm already down money, a lot of money. I might just want to cut my losses. And they're like, no, no. Super Mario's like, no, you'll get your money back at a crapless table. I've never played at a crapless table, so I'm like, I don't really know how to play at a crapless table. I don't know the payouts on the table. He's like, don't worry about it. Once we get there, I'll tell you the payouts at the crapless table. I'm like, what the hell? I'm in Vegas. I guess I'll use up the last of my bankroll because what I do for my bankrolls is I have money in envelopes for each session that I was doing, a morning, afternoon, and dinner session or evening session. I still had my bankroll for my evening session, so I'm like, F it, let's go. So Super Mario and I went over to the Luxor, and Eddie said he was going to meet us later. So we get there, and it's kind of a cold table, and I get the hook. It's a 12 foot, or it's a 14 foot table, mind you. 14 foot table. There's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 in the box numbers. I'm like, man, I don't know how to bet this thing. Mario's like, just do this. Just place the outside numbers. It's a $20 minimum table, by the way. And I'm like, $20, that's weird. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to play it as a $25 minimum table. I buy in for 900, and I put a quarter on the one, the two, the 3, and 11, and the 12. So I'm not shooting at the moment. So some random dude throws, and he makes a point of 6 or 8 or something like that, and he throws a 12, throws midnight. So Mario's like, hey, you just won. I'm like, what do I win? I still don't know how like the payout of that was. So I know I dropped a quarter or something like that, or dropped $1, I mean, and got money back. So the guy that I was shooting points, or he sevened out after a little bit after making me money. So I'd made my money back with that one hit. So I guess it was a 3-to-1 payout or something like that. I don't know, but I got $100 back from initially putting in $100. So and I had, because he had hit something else earlier, um, I had money up there still, but he sevened out. The next guy, he sevened out, like point sevened out, and I didn't play on him. When it came to me, no, I did play on him. I played another $100, and I pressed, and then he point sevened out. And then when it came to me, I was on the hook, um, but I had asked if I could shoot from the end. So I shot from the end. I shot about 30 minutes. Um, I started I started with a 6 and 8, um, and I think my point was 6 or something like that. Something supposedly pretty easy to hit. So, um, point was 6. I hit an 8. I spread out the to 12. I hit the box card. Um, so uh, I spread out to the 2 and the 3 and the 11. So now I have 2, 3, 11, 12, 6, and 8. Hit again, I spread out to the 5 and 9. So now I have everything covered, and I go on about a 30-minute roll, give or take like a couple minutes. I didn't time it. But shooting from the end, I was using a 1-4, 4-5 set to avoid the double pitch because it was such a long table. I'm not used to throwing on a 14-foot table, and the table's neutral to bouncy. So I had a few times where the dice flew off the table, um, same dice or whatever, and I made money off of that. I made my money back off of that, and a little bit more. So I was like, okay, this is kind of fun. So Mario had jumped and stick right of me because I'd shifted over. Uh, when the guy left me left, so I shifted over, and he had come in after me, and he was betting. So I'm like, hey, can he shoot from this end spot? And we just switch. and we'll switch out afterwards because he's here betting, and they're fine, that's fine, whatever. So we switch, so I'm back and stick left or the hook or whatever, stick left 3 or the hook or whatever it is, and he's shooting from the end, and he goes on a 30-minute tear. So I'm making some money on it. It's like, man, this is great. He's hitting horn numbers, like crazy. Now, backstory about that is on the Gold Coast, my last roll, uh, I was using the 1-4, the 1-4-4-1 set, and I was hitting horn number after horn number after horn number. The first thing I did was 5-5-5-5-9, horn number, horn number, horn number, horn number, horn number, 7 out. So I missed my repeater bet. Anyway, but I figured I was hitting horn numbers there, so I'll hit horn numbers here, so it was great. But Super Mario, he goes on a tear, 30-minute tear, and we're making money, recouping some of our losses. Um, then the guy next to him, totally random, goes for probably about 45 minutes. But granted, he's taken a very long time to pick up and throw, and there's a lot of people at this table at this point in time, and it's crowded. And the dealers, man, I felt sorry for the dealers because there's so many different payouts. They were on their game though for the most part. I caught them a couple of times mispaying us, but that was fine. They apologized and paid us correctly. They were honest mistakes. They weren't trying to cheat us or anything like that. So we made some money off of him, and then moves to the end. There's this lady, this woman, she's an attractive lady, in a red dress, uh, and we see her. I'm watching her pick up the dice, and she's actually setting dice. She's set for the 6-4 on top, and so as I see her putting the dice down, I put a 5-5-5 on the ATS because the craftless table apparently has an ATS over at Luxor. So I put 5-5-5 on the ATS, 1-1-1 for the dealers, and she goes on an hour and a half tear, hour and 15 to an hour and a half, just monster roll. Um, she hit the ATS uh, and paid us out on that one. I think I had about $900 on the table when she finally when she finally 7'd out. But my initial investment was $900 and it was pretty much out on the table, but my profit was just out there. By the time she was done shooting, I had $4,900 in my rack from 900. I tipped her. I tipped her personally $200. I walked it over there 2 separate times, gave her $100. So I was still at $4,900 after that, after tipping the dealers, after playing for the dealers, and after losing $900 in on the numbers. Um, so it went back around. Eddie showed up somewhere mid of middle of her roll, and he bought in whenever she had her point, or when the puck was off and people were paying out. He bought in, which is fine. Um, and he was able to get in on that monster roll as well. We were just pressing and pressing and pressing. At least I was making up some money. Um, Super Mario was doing pretty well too. I convinced him to finally start pressing. I think it was like roll 24 minutes that I started, it's like, hey, you really need to start pressing. It's like, man, it's like, no, just press. You've already made up your money. You're already out of the hand by a lot. I know you're down for the trip, but just press and collect. Press and collect if you want to do it that way. It's like, okay, okay. So he made money. Eddie made money, and I made money off that roll. So by the time it came down to Eddie, he did okay. Um, might have been in double digits. I don't remember. And I didn't get into the double digits at all. I think I had like 8 rolls. Uh, hit the 11 twice. Um, but that was it. And then Mario went again, and we couldn't get anything past 10, so I colored up. So I'm like, I'm done. Um, so overall, I was from 900 to 44 and like $75 or something like that, or something, because I had tipped them. Yeah, there's something like that. 44 plus, 4,400 plus. Cashed out, tipped the dealers again, and that was it. That was the night. Uh, Went back to Bali's uh, with Mario because he was at Caesars, and called it a night. Exhausted, wasn't planning on playing again. Uh, Woke up about 9 o'clock. Um, Woke up about 9 o'clock in the morning. Checkout was at 11. Uh, or checkout was at 10. I extended it to 11, and I went downstairs to play at Bali's because I'm supposed to technically play at Bali's for a certain amount of time, with a certain amount of minimums a day. Uh, but I didn't play the day, or I guess at this point 2 days before, because he had pissed me off. Oh no, the day before. I don't know. One of the days he pissed me off. I think it was Thursday. And it was the same dealer there, so I'm like, screw it. I went up over there, and I was gonna go stick right because I did really well stick right the first day I played there, but it was only a half table open. So I'm like, okay, so I squeezed in the other side. I mean, when I say squeezed in, there was only three other people there on the other side. So I'm like, okay. So I got the end shot, and I go I buy in for 500, and I go in, and I'm up like 550 because I'd bet on, because right when I got in, it was the guy to my left shooting. He was shooting okay, and lost money on him, lost money on the other two gentlemen, and then it got to me, and I was down to about $250, because they were telling me that I had to bet on everyone. So like $25 table, you know, $30 on the 6 and 8, it adds up. So I go and I get back up to about $325. I get back up to $325, and it's almost 11 o'clock. So I'm like, hey guys, uh, I gotta go. I gotta go check out, and I gotta catch a plane. So I passed the dice. I didn't even finish my roll. I had to pass the dice, and colored up 325 and checked out. So that's how it went. That was my trip report. Um, don't know how exciting that was, but that was my first trip report from Vegas. I'll do more. I'll do other trip reports, but probably from Oklahoma trip reports and stuff like that. So I guess that's it. I still went. And the trip was an overall loss monetarily, but I had so much fun. It was the best Vegas trip I have ever had, bar none. The people made it so much fun, Craps Nation people, um, and I can't wait to do it again. We're probably going to meet back up in September. I already have my flight. I've had my flight booked, or I have my flight booked. I just need to figure out which hotel I'm going to stay at. So um, that's it. Thanks for watching. Uh, Y'all, I guess, uh, have a great day. I'll see y'all next time. Bye.